What's going on, guys? It's Highlighter Miners here. With Ethereum 2.0 right around the corner, will it actually happen in June? Let's look at the facts. Alright, guys, so the big question is Ethereum 2.0 is supposed to launch sometime in June. That's what timeline we have been given. But if you guys are following this project, you'll know that June doesn't seem like a realistic expectation. And I want to show you guys. So I'll put a link in the description for this GitHub page, but one of the things that I've been doing is listening to these calls, right? These consensus calls. This is all the teams that are working on Ethereum 2.0 getting together and talking about what issues are still within the source code, and from those issues you can derive how long this project is actually going to take. What I gather from these consensus calls is that there's two different teams, and we need to think of them that way. There's an Ethereum 2.0 team, which is creating the foundation of the blockchain after Ethereum 1.0. Now, the Ethereum 2.0 team is where you're getting this optimism that it's going to happen. It's going to happen because we have all the things set in place. Whereas the Ethereum 1.0 team is bringing that back down to reality and saying, yes, we understand that Ethereum 2.0 as a network may be ready to test, but Ethereum 1.0 has to do a lot of things to ensure that the transition from 1.0 to 2.0 is stable. And not only that, Ethereum 1.0 has to keep the current system and network up while they're trying to figure out how to transition to Ethereum 2.0. Now, that transition originally was going to be based on a block, right? You have a certain block, and once that certain block is rewarded, the next block was going to automatically be Ethereum 2.0. But they found out very quickly that doing it by block, we as miners can actually manipulate the block and how fast it moves. If we pour more hash rate towards a specific coin, that's going to up the time or reduce the time of how fast Ethereum 2.0 would get here. So that wasn't necessarily a perfect option for them. So they are currently trying to figure out, how are we going to trigger from Ethereum 1.0 to Ethereum 2.0? Now, in this consensus call, we were getting a lot of indications that there were still bugs with how the blockchain was actually going to work. Now, in order for Ethereum to make the merge, bugs can still exist, but they can't be critical path bugs. And what I mean is, they can't be so integral to the way that the blockchain works that they can ignore them. Think about Windows, right? A lot of people use Windows, and we have something called a feature update, right? A feature is something above and beyond the way that the operating system actually works. Well, the bugs that they're still having in trying to launch the merge, these are critical issues to the actual Windows OS system, not feature updates. So we have to realize that we're still talking about the fundamental source code that they're having bugs and not just features. Another issue that I have with Ethereum 2.0 is they've been touting a lot of great things. They've been touting that there's going to be this huge carbon savings from mining Ethereum, but we need to realize that we as crypto miners, we are mining Ethereum, we're using GPUs, we're expelling some sort of electricity, which is where that carbon footprint comes from. But just because Ethereum is going to go to 2.0 doesn't mean that us as miners are going to stop mining. Now, that electricity that we're using may be pushed towards another coin, so effectively Ethereum is making it so that their carbon footprint isn't as much. But that's not really truly helping the large grand scheme of cryptocurrency as a whole. Now, the second is they talked a lot about the burning of crypto via the fees that these nodes are going to take on from staking Ethereum should burn crypto to where the supply should actually go down. Now, they're touting this as a, supply goes down, demand stays the same, that theoretically microeconomics say that the price should go up. But we've seen very, very recently in crypto that that's not the case. Think about Ravencoin happening. It was supposed to be this big thing. And what the market did is the market actually grew because it knew this was coming, right? It was building into the price the anticipation of the happening. So once the halving happened, you saw very little movement. People got disinterested and they sold their coins, making supply higher, therefore driving the price down. We saw the same thing with Dogecoin. If you followed Dogecoin, Elon was going to talk about Dogecoin on live TV, and there was this huge ramp up. And all it was is us as anticipators of speculative investments saying this could affect it in a positive way. Then the moment that he went on, that speculation was gone, right? He already said it, and people just started selling off because that pump was already built in. So, Ethereum 2.0 could give us that same reality that people think that supply is going to go down, demand stays the same, and that us miners aren't having to sell Ethereum to pay for our electricity for mining it, right? So that brings down the selling pressure. And in reality, I don't really think that's the case. Now, I do believe in what Ethereum's trying to do. You can argue proof of work, proof of stake. I think that proof of work is a better solution for them because it's more decentralized, right? If you look at the staking of Ethereum, most Ethereum staked, I think 85% is on one pool. That's not decentralized. That's one large entity having that stake. Whereas right now, you have 4 main, you could argue 6 main pools that you can mine from. So we as miners are keeping it more decentralized. So I think that it's going to fall further away from a decentralized state. And it's going to take the government pushing out regulations and allowing institutions to invest some of their capital into crypto to drive that price point up. So the biggest question is if Ethereum 2.0 doesn't come in June, that difficulty bomb is going to continue to get ever so close, right? Now the difficulty bomb creates longer block times, thus lowering the coin output, right? So think about right now, I think every transaction is 15 seconds. Well, if the difficulty bomb then slows the transaction of Ethereum down to 20 seconds, let's say, you're losing, let's say the reward is 10 every 15 seconds, and now all of a sudden you get 10 every 20 seconds. You're losing the efficiency in terms of the miners. So what we really have to look out for is that difficulty bomb and when it's going to start affecting the actual output, because the yields will go down. And if they're going to delay that difficulty bomb, is it going to happen fast enough to where we don't see those delays in the block times, right? So the big question is, if not June, then when? Based on the consensus call and what I'm hearing from people who have been in this space before and what I'm hearing from the individuals that are trying to create Ethereum 2.0 and work through these bugs, I believe that we are going to see sometime in Q1. I would say probably February, March. I more so say that because December and January become very inefficient months for us here in America with the holidays and then the New Year. So my absolute best case scenario would be probably February or March of 2023. Now, if for some reason these bugs just get perfectly ironed out in 3 weeks, the shadow merge happens, they start doing these test environments on an actual blockchain, and they start to see that these are very successful. I think the earliest we can really see it is October, November. I think if it's going to leak into late November, early December, we will see them push to Q1, probably February, March. But what I'm really seeing and what I'm going to guess is that we're going to see it go into quarter three. I do believe that there's still going to be some testing that needs to be done in Q1, and Q3 is going to be our launch date. If I had to guess, I would guess around like a May timeframe of 2023. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for us as crypto miners? We've seen a lot of things happen, right? We've seen the bull run somewhat stop, and we're in sort of this bear market as of the past 3 months. I would say we're in this bear market, and with that bear market and the loom of Ethereum 2.0, we've seen GPU prices come down almost 20% in some cases. So the question is, do we keep buying? Do we keep buying GPUs? Do we think that the merge is going to be pushed? For me, I believe that it's going to be Q1 or Q2 of next year. And if you think about Q1 of next year, that gives you almost 11 months, right? So somewhere north of 300 days. So I believe if you find the right deal on GPU and you look at the Ethereum price now, which I think it just did below 3,000, and today is April 11th. It just dipped below 3,000. I think it climbed back over that again. So if you look at 3,000 as the Ethereum price and what you could make on that card, if your payback or payoff of that card is 300 days or under, I am still going to be buying cards, and I hope to continue to grow my farm well past 100 cards. For you, it's going to be how risk tolerant are you? If you think Ethereum 2.0 is coming in June, which no indications have shown that, they've even talked about more of a July than a June now. You're talking about that 4 months. It may not make sense for you to buy GPUs unless it's like the perfect deal. So for me, I'm going to continue to buy cards. I'm going to continue to think that, in my opinion, it's going to be late Q1 of 2023, and I have at least a year of paying off these cards. Now, where I'm in a unique position is we're actually building a house, and with the building of that house, we're probably going to be putting solar panels on that house. Effectively, I'm going to look at my growth pattern for my farm and the electricity that I use within my farm. I'm going to try to have the solar panels take care of that portion of the electricity. There's a bunch of tax benefits for it. If you guys aren't set up as an LLC for your crypto mining and you're wondering if you should, I'll link a video in the top left here. If you're mining for profit and not as a hobby, I highly recommend that you have an LLC. But I can actually depreciate those solar panels over time, which will help with my capital gains on what I do sell in crypto mining. But if I can bring my electricity costs to just what the solar panels cost, and I can pay my cards off before Ethereum 2.0 happens, I'm a lot less worried about, is all the hash rate going to go to ETC, Ethereum Classic? Is it going to go to Flux? Is it going to go to Furo? Is it going to go to Ergo? I don't really have to answer those questions because I can follow the market as to where I think it's going to be profitable. And as people learn once Ethereum 2.0 happens, we'll be able to shift accordingly. So, guys, I really, really, really hope that this sheds some sort of light. Please listen to those consensus recordings. I mean, that's everybody on the team talking about the issues. They're being transparent with us, and their transparency is telling us, in my opinion, Q1 or Q2 of 2023. If you guys have an opinion, I would love to hear it. Leave it in the comments below. I would love it if you smash that like button because the YouTube algorithm seems to absolutely love it.